Money mules are a hot topic these days. Cost of living skyrocketing, lots of vulnerable people, lots of opportunity for criminals. We're going to discuss money mules and what banks can do with novel technology to protect themselves and their customers. This is Nick Parfitt, and this is your weekly financial crime news wrap-up. A money mule is either somebody who knowingly takes money from somebody else in a criminal enterprise and forwards it on, taking generally a commission or a cut of that, or someone who's been duped into thinking that they are applying for a job, for example, or it's a romance scam. Students, for example, are really at risk of doing this because they could be approached at a university by somebody who is in the organized gang and says, hey, look, we just need to use your bank account. Small amounts going in and out, and you just take a commission. There's no big deal in that. Easy money for you. Social engineering is one of the key things about money mules and how criminals are successful. They target vulnerable people. Interpol recently has been running a campaign from about August of last year around saying your account, your crime, which really puts the burden of responsibility back onto the individual. But there's also the chances as well that you've had your account taken over. Your credentials could be leaked on the dark web, for example. That means a criminal has access to your bank accounts and can move monies in and out without you necessarily knowing about it unless you check your statements on a regular basis. Behavioral biometrics is going to make sure that the person who is operating that device has built up a profile with the bank for a long time. So for mobile phones, the tilt, how quickly you type, how much pressure you put down on the keypad, how quickly you enter data within that as well, which is extremely difficult to mimic if you're not that person. It certainly is a challenge for a bank to spot money mules. There are a number of red flags, though, that they can look for. One is really around the transactional patterns of an existing account. Do they fall out of the norm of how they're behaving? So tuning your transaction monitoring systems, particularly when it comes to understanding from the CDD profile what the bank account's intentions are, is a must. If the bank starts to see international transfers, which before the customer was not using or had used very infrequently, that can be an indicator. From a commission-based perspective, if the customer is earning a commission from monies coming in and going out, the amount that is retained in the account is 10, 12.5%, 15% of the total, then that indicates strongly that they're taking a commission off of that, particularly when you think about rapid movements of funds. And what we've seen before with typologies around this is that payments come in, 10% gets taken off, payment goes out, all within a very, very short period of time. The other way I think banks can really protect themselves is by looking for more novel sources of known mule account information. So that's things like looking on the dark web where credentials of individuals and known account takeovers have been published. And they can use that information as part of the inbound payments stoppage process, as well as from a anti-money laundering and transaction monitoring investigation process. So if a mule is identified outside the organization, but it's trying to get into the organization or vice versa, they can use novel techniques like link analysis in order to understand those payment flows and other potential accounts that may be compromised or part of a wider network. Now, I'd like to ask you a question. With the new legislation that's coming in the UK around financial institutions both being liable when it comes to fraud, payments coming in or moving out of your organization, and mules being a key part of that, how successful have you been to date, or what is your strategy around mule identification? Let us know in the comments below. This is Nick Parfitt with your Feed's Eye weekly financial crime news wrap-up.